Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Andrei. In this video episode, I'll talk and explain how to implement dependent UI functionality in Streamlit. Let's say you have drop down or choice list with a set of values, and then on the same page you may have a button or some other data entry widget where you enter data or you press a button and you would like to update in the same request the list of values inside the choice list and how you could do that. Because Streamlit doesn't have such thing like a callback, and every time you do interaction on UI, it makes a request to the server side and the script for your Streamlit application and runs from top to bottom. So you need some ways to make sure to understand when you have when the master value should change based on changes in based on dependent functionality, and when to basically when you need to update the list. So let's see. The best would be to explain that with practical example. So let's jump to my application. This is Sparrow application I'm implementing for document data extraction. Right, and the first bit, which is almost ready, is document labeling and annotation. And based on that example, I'll show you how I managed to achieve dependent UI values refresh. So I'll go to data annotation part. And over here, we got select and upload sections. So in the select section, we got choice list with available documents currently registered in the system, so user could select the document, and once he selects the document, it will be displayed over here, and you can verify existing annotations or add new ones. And this upload part where you could upload new documents. Over here, press upload. And the idea is that this list should be updated in the same request as soon as the document was uploaded. By default, this would not happen because the way the logic is implemented in this application, upload functionality goes in the script goes after the functionality which implements the list. So you, let's say, uploaded the document, request goes to the server, and first it will render the list, and it will still have previous set of values, and as soon as it goes to the functionality where file is uploaded and where you handle file upload, then the list is already rendered, and a new entry will appear only next time when you will interact with the page on the next step. Which obviously is not the way how it should be from the user perspective. But there is a way to implement dependent functionality as well in Streamlit, and I'll show you how in a few moments in the source code. Now let's see how it works from the user perspective. So let's say I'll click Browse Files. Okay, and I'll go over here and I'll select say this document, invoice number 1, and it's not yet uploaded. So if I click to see the list of available documents, it's not in the list, and it's uploaded when I click upload. So I click upload, it says file uploaded successfully, and the current annotation document stays the same. It's not being refreshed, which is fine. But if I look into the list of annotations, I'll see new entry is immediately available within the same request. So as a user, I could either continue work on this document, or I could go and select this new invoice, for example, and I could start working on this document over here. So this is how it works, and now let's go and see actual source code, how this is implemented. So Streamlit it provides a component called empty. You can think about it as a placeholder, and you could put into this empty component, for example, any Streamlit widget like Selectbox, like in my case, And later in the script, in the next steps in the script, if you decide to replace components that are inside empty Streamlit component, you could reference the same placeholder and put new components there, and those new components they'll replace whatever existing components in this placeholder. So what we do over here, we define placeholder, then we actually check a list of existing files, right? And if we are also using Streamlit session state to check if we stored before information about currently selected index in Selectbox. This is required in order for us to be able to synchronize current Selectbox selection after the file uploads, not to lose the selection after a new file is uploaded. So if there was no yet any, if session state wasn't touched, then we assign annotation index 0 to have the first entry in Selectbox as default. Otherwise, we initialize annotation index from session state. That's clear enough. In the next step, we're actually using our placeholder, and inside the placeholder, we're creating Selectbox with the file names, and we're using index. We provide annotation index as it is initialized over here above. So it will be either 0 or the value from the storage, from the session storage. So this renders Selectbox, and but there's a catch, because this renders actually Selectbox, but it could be that user will go and change the value in Selectbox, and then the way how it executes, it will return new annotation selection. This means that we need to update annotation index that we keep inside the session storage to the new value. So we always get as a response from the Selectbox annotation selection information about currently selected key, and then we get index for the current key from the helper function get annotation index. This function just goes through the current keys and identifies the index for the currently selected one and returns the index. And then we're updating Streamlit session storage with that new index. Okay, so that's about Selectbox, and if you go over here, this is the place where we handle file upload. So if new file is submitted without any problems, then we enter this if. If new file is ready to be submitted, then we enter this if. We upload the file, get back the response. If there was no any issues during upload, then we enter over here. We get new list of files because the new file is already uploaded, so we can get this file included into the list of files. And for the current annotation selection, we get annotation index. And current annotation selection would be the one that is selected right now before actually we were uploading a new file. Then we're referring to the same placeholder like in a few steps above, and we are rendering new Selectbox. So we're replacing previous Selectbox with the new one, and we are submitting a new list of file names, and this list of file names will have this new entry about newly uploaded file. And we are initializing Selectbox with annotation index to make sure that we keep previous selection as the one which was before file upload. And we are we are assigning again index value to the Streamlit session state. Yeah, so it's a bit cumbersome, but at the end of the day, if you follow the logic and you do a little bit of debugging, it's kind of straightforward. Yeah, because Streamlit doesn't provide callbacks, so the logic flow is kind of linear, and you need to control it with the if statements, and you need to use those placeholders to be able to replace the state of the component that is rendered above in code with the new component, for example. But at the end of the day, if you're not implementing like super complex UIs interfaces, then you can make it. And I think with placeholder you can handle such dependent UI functionality quite well. At least in my case, it works fine. Of course, if I would have like multiple fields dependent on certain field, and I would need to play with multiple placeholders, maybe it would get tricky, but with this single placeholder, it works quite well. Okay, so the idea of this video was to show you and explain how you work in Streamlit with dependent UI regions or values when one widget depends on another, and when you change the value of the widget, or like in my case, it was a file upload, and based on this action, you need to refresh dependent fields like a Selectbox, like in my case. And I explained that you could do this with Streamlit Empty widget, which is you can think about it like a placeholder, and you simply replace previous component in placeholder with the new component of the same type, but with different parameters, and it works fine. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.